You are now in the deep end of horror.
And I will see the life run out of you.
Hello, my children of the popcorn. It's Thrill Me Thursday. And this week, Hey Isn't That Devon Graham challenged us to come up with our top 5 blockbuster video movies. And I think he meant this differently, but there's just something perverse about me that I have to do something different than what he asked. So, number 5, The Truly Awful Boa vs. Python. I'll get to why in a moment. 2 of nature's biggest and most terrifying scaled predators square off in an action-filled battle of fangs. When a gigantic python gets loose on a private reserve, the FBI must release an equally large boa to track and capture it as a group of wealthy big game hunters try to bag the python as a trophy for themselves. So can you imagine the FBI releasing a giant boa because they need to find a python? Anyway, the reason I picked it was, it's a Blockbuster movie. These are all Blockbuster movies from my collection. Boa vs. Python is not any good and I don't recommend it. It's just because I have it from Blockbuster. Here's one I have from Blockbuster that even says Blockbuster on it. And of course, the nice sturdy case. Blockbuster always had nice sturdy cases. Not those cheap eco cases. Blockbuster. And the other thing is that Dimension Extreme was something I always saw at Blockbuster Video. I never knew about any of them ahead of time. I would walk into Blockbuster and I would always see this, and it would catch my eye, and they'd always be tempting. And Eden Lake is actually pretty interesting, and I don't know if it's Michael Fassbender's first film, but it's a very early film from Michael Fassbender. Dark Water, starring Jennifer Connelly, a remake of the Japanese thriller. There's your Blockbuster. This one is actually a really good film. It is haunting. The atmosphere is fantastic. The story is decent, but it's the atmosphere that's fantastic. And the apartment that she and her kid live in is just so horrible, just so utterly horrible, that you would think it's a movie invention, but there were a number of places that I lived before I got married, a number of rundown trailers that were pretty awful. Here's one I picked because it had Blockbuster written all over it. It's a Blockbuster exclusive, Hannibal Rising, with exclusive deleted scenes. And a sticker, previewed $9.99. I'm sure I didn't pay that much for it. Blockbuster case. Even the disc itself says it's a Blockbuster exclusive. Hannibal Rising, I don't really remember much of it. I've watched it. It must have just been meh. And this is the most Blockbustery one I have, in the sense that I don't have any artwork for it, just Blockbuster display box only. And it's Donkey Punch, which is a UK thriller, and it features very, 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 very pretty people who, if they were in the US, they'd be on the CW. And it's a sexual thriller, and it's actually really good, I thought. It's some boys and girls go out on a boat trip, and an incident happens, and the boys and the girls both have different ideas about what should be done about this incident, and they end up squaring off, and it's a lot of fun. But I just wanted to talk a bit about Blockbuster. Of course I miss the days of renting videos. Redbox obviously has really nice cheap rentals, and I buy all mine these days anyway. But I miss going into a store where I could go into the horror section, and there would actually be a horror section. To me, that's an impressive store. If I go shopping, if I go into a store and there's a section labeled horror, I love it instantly. But I digress. Blockbuster, while I miss the actual big stores, Blockbuster was not the employees. The employees were great, but the corporation was pretty evil, because basically they came in, they put all the mom and pop rentals out of business, except in the areas where Blockbuster didn't want to go in. They were too rural. So Blockbuster came in, put them all out of business, and then they made all their money on late fees. And if your business practice, if your way of making money is to gouge the public, people will come along and put you out of business. And that's exactly what Redbox did, Netflix did, putting Blockbuster out of business, because you can't sustain a business model of gouging people. Cab prices. Cab prices were always ridiculous, and nobody ever took a cab anywhere unless you were in a big city, or you absolutely had to. And they just got bigger and bigger and bigger, and then along comes Uber. And then all the cab drivers complained, but their business is to charge so much that they gouge people. Of course another business is going to come along and replace them. Same thing with the hotels. Hotel prices just got completely out of control, and along came Airbnb. And so basically, anytime you have a business which is built on gouging people, obviously you have a short lifetime. Anyway, that's my rant. Have a nice Thursday. Click like, subscribe, or even comment below, because I want to hear what you think.
No fair.